Are you figuring out it really isn't the Republicans versus the Democrats? It is your government against you. As libertarians, we consider ourselves to be the keepers of a sacred trust between their people and their government. We just want to keep it honest. Is that so much to ask? Is one issue, this 1070? Forgive me, I did go to law school. I read 1070. And from the very start, I opposed it very simply, not in its intent, but in its language. It is national ID. It puts every single one of us into a database that is dangerous in every sense of the word. Has anybody seen the video on the internet of the guy calling up for the pizza and the ladies telling him about his cholesterol and his credit rating and his light bill? That's what we're talking about in national ID. I don't want my children to be subject to a tyrannical government that can control them, or in my specialty of subjects, which was in university, it was the Soviet Union, where people disappear, and all of the records disappear with them. That was heartbreaking to see. The people of Russia are not bad people, they're just normal people. And I love the question about the gay marriage, and I appreciate it, because I had the opportunity to speak at one of the gay, live, bi, the big, long bunch of initials group of people. And I remember the fella who was in charge of it came up to me and he said, "You're a libertarian, you believe in individual rights above all things." And I said, "Absolutely." He said, "You've got our support," and I thanked him. Unfortunately, about 20 minutes later, a scene all too common when you're in politics, he came sashaying up to me, and I say that not to make fun of him, but it really was comical to see him and his two guys on his arms. The way they walked looked choreographed. But I knew what he was doing, and I knew where that game was going to go. He said, "Let me be clear, you will support gay marriage, won't you?" I knew it was important not to hesitate, so I said, "Absolutely not. I don't believe government should be involved in anyone's marriage at all, under any circumstances. In my own case, my own wife and I were married in the most milquetoast of ceremonies, with our pastor, with everybody there, same old, same old. The only thing missing? A license from the state. I refuse. And that's what I urge everyone to do." Well, he huffed, my little friend here, huffed off and said, "Well, we're going to give our support to Janet," as if there was any question. Now, here's the odd part. After that, about an hour, I happened to be just across the street from the Biltmore, up in the Esplanade, up in a radio station with a Christian televangelist or radio evangelist or whatever they call him. And he was going to set me up because he knew I could not support what he wanted. All 20 lines were lit up when I got there. They thought they were going to have sport with this libertarian guy. First question, you will support the Protect Marriage Amendment, right? And I knew it was important not to hesitate, so I said, "Absolutely not." And I explained to them why. And then I said, and further, as a confessed Christian, I am incensed, and I am deeply disappointed, and I can't believe any pastor, priest, or minister would so far lead their congregations away so as to think that somehow God's holy law could somehow be legitimized by man's smarmy political law. Every single one of those callers called in of good conscience, and every single one of them was peaches and cream. You know what they said? Never thought of it that way. They should, because government is here. All these politicians do. That's why we have a border issue. That's why we have a gay marriage issue. That's why we have tax issues and we have school issues, is because they have one function. And I'm going to give you the inside scoop on politicians. Here's the game. Divide people up into groups, pit them against each other, and then offer to referee. That's what gives them relevance. As a libertarian, I don't care what color you are, what your spiritual base is, where your foundations are. I mean, the box is only big enough for one when you meet the old boy. You're not going to be able to bring your friends along and say they agree with me. So you better be able to answer for yourselves. And I think it's important we respect everyone's right to be who they are. That's America. The promise of a nation that never before has existed in human history, not before and not since. Does anybody even know what the American Revolution was all about? Anybody? Most people don't. Many people say, well, we split off from England. Oh, that's fascinating. But it's wrong. I mean, it's part of it. Because I remember even as a kid, I had to memorize all 104 nations of this world, their leaders, and a bunch of other nonsense that has served me no purpose since that time. Today, there's over 257 countries. Splitting off from the mother country is nothing. No. The big deal about the American Revolution, and when you travel around the world, when people talk about the American Revolution, it was the arrogance of those individuals who actually thought they could run themselves. They could own their own government. They didn't need no stinking king to tell them how to live. That's what the revolution was about, and that's what I believe America is all about. We're a land that you can do anything you want. You can be as productive and creative as you possibly can be, as long as you don't harm another person, their property, or their rights.